Creepy Basement Studios presents Creepy Basement Classroom.
Creepy Basement Classroom, Episode 9, Part 2, and this will be the final part for this episode. Like I said, shorter week, shorter episode. So you watched the short film Paths of Hate. Wasn't that cool? That was intense. Some things I want you to know. In the past recent episodes of Creepy Basement Classroom, we were talking about the importance of backstory and all these other things to understand characters. And then I go throwing at you two characters with no backstory, no name, nothing, absolutely nothing. Why am I making your life so difficult? The fact that these pilots are nameless, we know nothing about them, was done on purpose by the director. If you look closely, even though if you're big into history, big into World War II history in particular, the planes may look familiar, but the director did make an effort for neither one of those two pilots to represent any particular country at any point in time in history. They could be representatives of nations, or they could be two men who happen to hate each other that happen to own planes. And that was an important choice for the director to make because he wanted it not to be a comment on a particular philosophy or ideology. He wanted it just to be about that emotion of hate and how it gets ramped up and ramped up and ramped up. It kind of reminds me of in Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, the Capulets and the Montagues, Romeo and Juliet's family. They hate each other. Why? It's not even discussed. It's not even mentioned in that play. We just know that they hate each other. But what I want you to do is to look at that film and analyze, tell me when you see their hatred ramped up. I'll give you an example. Early on in the film, there's a part where we see that they are just about out of fuel and they're on their reserve fuel tanks. So at that point, they need to decide whether or not they're going to continue fighting and risk not having enough fuel to return home, or do they just go home? And what you see is that they decide to both keep fighting. After that, things get ramped up again and again. What I would like you to do is to identify two more instances where things get ramped up again, where the stakes are even higher. I showed you where, all right, now we don't have gas, but we're going to keep fighting. How does it get ramped up next? And then how does it get ramped up one more time? So what I'd like you to ultimately do is give me a paragraph that shows how the hatred between the two pilots is ramped up twice more. It starts when they run out of fuel and decide to keep fighting. What happens next raises the stakes. And then what happens after that raises the stakes. I look forward to your submissions, and we'll see you in the next episode.